Hey everybody, it's Rob here. Today I want to show you my leveling strategy for Season 8 as well as what I believe are the best leveling guides for each of the 6 classes for the new season here, starting very soon on Tuesday. We have a full comprehensive written guide here on my cheat sheet. I'm going to link that below. And we also have a tier list as well as all the planners up here on the 4 builds that you can follow along. We're going to go talk over all of these in this video. So first of all, the main objective, obviously, you want to get to level 60 as fast as possible. So I recommend you to start the game on normal. There's going to be these new apprehend incursions here. They're going to look like this on the open map. And this is basically the new activity of the season. I can show you here real quick. So this is me doing this on a barb. However, there's also a world boss in these where you unlock your boss powers. This is like the new power scaling season theme, basically. And you're going to get like these boss powers as well as the material, Spectral Ash, to unlock these. So what you want to do is here, you want to play on normal. You can see up here on the right, we're also playing on normal. The monsters will die very fast. They have added bounty whispers to this. And they have buffed the experience as well as the loot drop chance. It's not 100% clear if this is faster than Helltide. However, I think a good mix of this is going to be what the focus is. So you can see here, like we're going to be spawning this boss and you want to kill this boss here very fast. This is a greater apparition. This is like a world boss, basically, that you're going to get the boss power from. So he spawns in these new areas. And as soon as he spawns, you want to like kill him pretty efficiently. You see, even like with some pretty good gear on normal with many players, it still takes about 10 seconds, 20 seconds sometimes to take it down. And you don't want to like spend minutes fighting this guy. So I recommend playing normal. And so you start the game on normal. You're going to be creating obviously like a seasonal character once you, before you log in. You're going to get the pet at the wardrobe. Like this going to auto pick up your gold and materials. You just press F1 or whatever hotkey you have the wardrobe on, get the pet. It's going to auto pick up materials and it's going to salvage some of the items and it's going to pick the gold. Then you want to grab your mercenary. This is expansion only. So if you own Vessel of Hatred, you're going to get a mercenary at the den. You just need to go there like it's located. I'm going to show you in game. It's located down here, so you just go there, get to the den, grab, hire the mercenary if you're playing solo. This one helps you a lot. You're going to get the mercenary rapport, and you unlock additional skills for the mercenary as well as legendary rewards here for this guy through the bartending, and you're also going to get your reinforcement at some point. Then you want to start the seasonal quest line. So this has to do with the boss powers, the apprehend incursions that I mentioned earlier, to get your first journey rewards, and then also like to get these quests. They look like this on the open map. So it's like green seasonal leaf. It's somewhere in the open map, and it begins here. I guess a timer to it. That's where you get the progression for the boss powers, basically. And that's where you unlock additional powers. On the way there, when you're on the horse, you can loot like a couple of herbs to craft an elixir, and these elixirs in game, they obviously are gonna, buff your experience here. Like you're gonna have like the base form of these elixirs, and they're just gonna give you some stats, and they're gonna give you see here 8% XP. I think the early ones give you like 5 or 6%. So you're gonna get some good XP there. Alternatively, you can do the Raising Spirits side quest. This is like right in the beginning of Key Overshot, the first quest to craft this elixir. Then you go to these apparition incursions. There are going to be whispers there, most likely. They're going to be defeating the bosses, get the boss power, and you also get the Spectral Ash here when you kill him. And this Spectral Ash that drops, maybe it didn't drop here. Like I think they increased the drop chance of the Spectral Ash significantly. You also have a chance to spawn Belial already as one of the world bosses here. So you see, even on normal, he still takes quite some time. And I think he's going to drop this Spectral Ash. I just want to show it to you real quick. That actually allows you to upgrade your boss powers. There's Spectral Ash on the ground here. It's this currency here. And that Spectral Ash you need to upgrade your powers. And you're also going to drop plants. It's also going to drop like normal gear and stuff. And that's pretty cool. And they can spawn anywhere in the open world. So you can do this solo if you like, or you can join up my Discord. The link is going to be below as well, and also in the sheet here. And we have different channels there where you can basically, level up, do this event in a group, LFG, apparition, normal, and just have a good time playing together, because you're going to get more XP in the group and you're going to kill the boss usually faster. And the XP here has been significantly buffed. So then, once you're level 15, like usually you do a couple of these apparition incursions and you should be level 15 because they buffed it from the PTR. It should take you like about half an hour to get there, maybe even a bit faster. It depends. And then you want to do your class quest. On all classes, I think is level 15, but Necromancer. But there's a change and your class quest gets completed automatically. So if you've ever done the class quest before on your account, it's going to automatically complete it. You don't even have to worry about it. The only thing that you got to do is go in game and select the bonus of the class quest. So most people don't have to go and do the class quest. You get it automatically, but you need to remember to take the bonus. It's not going to auto-assign it. You got to take it actively. And then after that, you have two choices. Either you keep doing the apparition incursions and keep getting more boss powers. If you haven't gotten the one that you need or that you want for your build, again, choose the leveling builds. Alternatively, if you want to really focus on leveling, you can turn the game on hard and level in the Helltide. This is still going to work very well. It's going to give you some additional experience, and it's going to be in general a bit harder. However, you don't process your boss powers or progress your boss powers. So one thing that's always a concern in leveling, that a lot of the power that you get during leveling, a lot of the time you spend there is useless. But this time it's not, because you can actively level your boss powers while you level. So there's kind of a choice you want to make. If you just want to blast to 60 as fast as possible without really caring so much about the power that you get, the boss powers, if you want to farm them later, you can do that. However, I think it's going to be the most fun, and it has been the most fun in the previous seasons as well, to kind of like unlock the season powers while you level. You might level a bit slower, but you're going to have a more powerful character once you hit level 60, and then you want to go into Torment 1, which is a lot harder now, so it makes sense to have power. But maybe also a mix of these two can be the right answer. We don't know by how much they buff the experience of this new event. We will kind of like spontaneously decide that. Just know apparition incursions on normal to kill bosses and get boss powers fast, and Helltide for more XP on hard to get the additional XP bonus. And then during the breaks, obviously, you can also do one or two dungeons like Juggernaut or something that you need for your build to unlock some aspects, and always salvage when you're in town. And between those incursions, min-max your gear, because they only last for a certain time, you know. And there's like one or two bosses, and then it's despawning, and then you have to switch the area anyways. So in that downtime, I always recommend you to salvage the gear, min-max it. Maybe you want to temper one or two pieces and stuff like that. And then you can do this like even before level 50. However, I really recommend like at least playing until level 48. If you want to be safe, we want to be level 50, and then you just do all the strongholds on normal. Unlocking those strongholds is going to give you the waypoints on the map, and they also give a ton of experience. However, this experience does not scale with the Torment modifier or with any difficult modifier. So it's advised to do the strongholds on normal, because they give exactly the same conclusion experience as, you know, on harder difficulty. And it's just fast on normal. Again, alternatively, you don't have to do this. You can just keep doing Helltide or Apparition. However, I strongly recommend you doing the strongholds to get the waypoints, and it's also faster to get the XP. Alternatively, or if for whatever reason you're not reaching level 60 after doing those strongholds, once you start at like 48, 50, you can always do the Kurast Undercity. This is only if you have the expansion again, obviously. So you need to go into Nahantu here and do the Kurast Undercity. This is also going to give you pretty decent experience and going to give you quite some items. Then, obviously, you want to like keep progressing your character, like getting into T1. So once you hit level 60, usually you build, if you're following like a 8-tier build, you should be powerful enough to switch to Pentient after you've done a few tempers and a few imprints on your gear, and you also equip some of the runes if you have the expansion again. And obviously, don't forget about the mercenary. So the expansion is going to give you actually quite some power. And then you can already do Pentient. And then I recommend doing a few Nightmare dungeons to improve the gear, get the first glyphs. And then you can already start doing the pits. And you need to do pit 10 to unlock T1. Keep in mind, the pits are they are like a bit harder now, not as significant on the PTR. So you should be somewhat okay unlocking pit 10 and then doing this on T1. Get into the end game. You're transitioning from the leveling. Like once you're in T1, you basically want to transition from the leveling guides. So usually the leveling guide will tell you, let's say we play Quill Volley here, for example. So this is usually my leveling guide, looks like this. You have a full like 1 to 60 leveling path. And then in the notes, it's going to give you an end game transition here. This is on the Spiritborn, for example. You want to transition into either Poison Quill Volley if you have the Ashava power. This is going to be a bit RNG. Or you want to transfer into the Evade, Stormfeather, Firestorm build, let's say. Or on the Barb, you know, you start playing Whirlwind, and you can actually keep playing Whirlwind until the end game. Or you switch to like any of the other builds like Mighty Throw or something. But there's always a transition phase. And what I do in my leveling builds, I never recommend one weapon because there's no real reason to keep imprinting your weapon. Because especially as a barbarian, you have 3 weapons already, and one weapon should always be there to get the next stronger weapon. Every time you level up, the DPS of the possible weapons you can find is going to improve, and every 4 or 5 levels or so, you definitely want to switch your weapon to a stronger DPS weapon. All that matters really is the DPS. So do that. Keep, like, let's say here, your polearm slot free, and keep upgrading that weapon, and don't imprint it like while you level. Once you hit level 60, you can then imprint your weapon once you get level 61. And then obviously, like, another link here I recommend is the loot table. So you can see, like, let's say I'm playing Barbarian and I really want to, you know, get the new Gores Whirlwind Bracers. If I'm playing Whirlwind here, they buffed this one. So you can just type it up here or just check. And you know, you need to slay Echo of Varshan to get the Gore's Devastating Grasp. Again, if you're in a group, you get additional chances for Ancestrals and Mythic unique items when you're in group. But now everybody has to pay the material fine. So solo play is still good, but still you want to ideally play in a group. And keep in mind that Belial has the highest chance for Mythic and Ancestral uniques out of all the bosses. And you can choose whatever loot you want from Belial. So ideally, you do Belial if you have the keys. Then you want to keep blasting, finish your character, unlock more torment levels, and complete the pits. You can also, if you want to boost your friends, or if you, I don't know, don't like your starter character, you can always, you know, like help your friends or ask your friends to just power level you in the pits. It's really fast. You can just stand AFK at the start and let a friend power level you, or you help a friend. I have some rough benchmarks here that I pointed out. This is like the segment 1 to 60. It should take you about 3 to 4 hours. We don't know the final changes because Blizzard has buffed the experience from the PTR again. So it's going to be faster to level than it was on the PTR. On the PTR, it took about 4 hours. I think now it would probably be done in like 3 hours again. And then I have the benchmarks here. In general, like for each Paragons section, last time, it took me 108 hours to level up. I have the video here, linked in the sheet as well. However, now, since they did change the pit scaling to be a bit harder, and they also nerfed some of the top builds, like Earthquake Barb, for example, it's going to take us a bit longer than last season if you want to reach Paragon 300. So for Paragon 300, you really want to focus on speed farming, like Lightning Spear, Sork, Evade Spiritborn. Like, those are going to be some of the cool builds that really like farm low pit tiers and farm them fast. There's not really any reason to do high pit tiers because you get less experience, way less experience than in the low pit tiers. And I think it's going to take about 10 to 20% longer. So if you want to blast, you could probably do it in like about 100, 120 hours. But, you know, if you're a more casual player, it's going to take you well around 200 hours to reach a Paragon, especially if you're farming a lot of those bosses. And then coming to the tier list here. So there's all the links here. I think still Sorcerer is going to have the fastest leveling. That's also the build I recommend here. Fireball Hydra. You can make very good use of Firewall Hydra. You can make very good use of one of the new powers here, which is Beastmaster's Training, which is going to give you multiplicative damage up to 2.5x for your summons, which the Hydra is a summon, obviously. Same for the Minion Necro here. So you can go on the Minion Necro, and this time Minion Necro is stronger than ever yet again. And here you also can make use of this summon power. And a Minion Necro was always a very solid leveling choice anyways, and it's even stronger right now. And you can transition into one of the best builds of the entire season, which is, again, Blood Wave Necromancer. But there's also a new build on the block here, Blood Bone Spear, so pretty cool to transition into that. Obviously, on Firewall Hydra, you can either play the new Blizzard, the new Ice Shards, or the old Lightning Spear Sword. And then we have Whirlwind Barb. I think maybe Whirlwind Barb is even S tier for leveling. However, I was a bit hesitant because you cannot move around as fast as a Sork. But Whirlwind Barb is definitely going to be one of the best levelers in the entire game. And this is mainly because Whirlwind has been changed and buffed. And we are getting, even on like level 1, we already get the Furious Whirlwind, which gives us 120% weapon damage. And this is even at rank 1 Whirlwind, we're doing 50 plus 120. We're already doing 172 weapon damage. The only problem is in the end game, you see if I put more ranks, it doesn't scale. So you don't scale with the ranks. And that's why I believe the Whirlwind in the Ultra end game is going to fall off, B tier, and Mighty Throw is going to be better. However, you have the Armory, right? So you can easily switch between Whirlwind into Mighty Throw for boss killing and vice versa, if you want to do that. Upheaval Barb also got a buff, so this was always my go-to leveler before they buffed Whirlwind. This season, I recommend Whirlwind. However, Upheaval, I still have a planner here. Upheaval is still super solid, and you can play it with a generator early on and making use of Lunging Strike, and that's going to also be decent. Then we have the Quill Volley Spiritborn. This one can transition into the Poison build later, which is insanely strong, and also a very solid leveler. Very fast. Quill Volley always been one of the best skills, and you can transition into the new Evade build or the new Ashava build. However, if you want to transition into the Ashava build here, you will need the Ashava boss power, and it's going to be a little bit of RNG how soon you can get that, right? So you start with Quill Volley, and at some point you might want to transition into the Poison build. However, if you're looking at helltides.com here, you might not get lucky and get the Ashava power early. Same goes for the Whirlwind, though. It can happen that the Wandering Death, which gives you the Whirlwind Beam, it might spawn like, only 6 or 7 hours into the season if you're unlucky. So we'll have to see how the boss lines. But overall, Quill Volley is going to be pretty good. And you can play Evade very early on. They have like a new Storm Feather Firestorm build. That's going to be pretty cool. And there's a ton of different options there to play. And I think overall, Spiritborn has the most exciting new stuff. Then we also have on Rogue, if you want to play Rogue, I recommend Dance of Knives Rogue. Again, this is not the only leveling build. There's a ton of leveling builds, but Dance of Knives, you can snapshot, you can crit, you can snapshot your imbuements and stuff, and Dance of Knives is insane leveling build. And then probably overall the weakest character for leveling is Druid. Druid has always been slow. They have buffed it quite a lot, so none of these builds is really bad for leveling. Especially Poison Creeper, you also benefit from some buffs that directly buffed Poison Creeper, and Poison Creeper is also a summon. So again, you can play this beautiful power here early on, and then transition into Pulverize here with the Beastmaster's training. I think none of the character is bad for leveling, so that's why they're all in S or A tier, like, none is shit. But probably the Druid, overall, I would say, still feels like the slowest character, So this is just my recommendation, guys. You can play many different leveling builds. There are a ton more leveling builds. This is just what I recommend. And again, you have the full written sheet down below here, so you can just have this on the second screen open. You can join the community Discord. We can, play together with the community. You have experience bonuses, and you get, obviously, like faster leveling, faster bosses, and more loot from those bosses if you play in a party. So grab a couple fans or play solo, whatever you like. I hope you enjoyed, guys. Season starts here very soon. I'm looking forward to it. I'll make a video what class and build I'm gonna start, but I hope this helps you guys. And yeah, all the written stuff is below. Hope you enjoyed. GG, good luck. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.